Welcome to Cineights, where you get to know the best movies and series. Today's video is about the greatest westerns movies of all time. I hope you enjoy this video. Be sure to watch until the end because I am sure you will like it. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video. 310 to Yuma 2007. 310 to Yuma follows small-time rancher, Dan Evans, who's about to lose his land, and the only way to pay for it is to transport a dangerous outlaw, Ben Wade, across the wild country and get him on a train to Yuma prison. The journey is long and hard with many obstacles in the way, such as the outlaw's old crew being hot on their trail. As the two men brave across the lawless country of old America, Wade begins playing mind games with Evans, trying to slow the rancher down, sparking a battle of wills as they race toward their destination. Excellent performances from both Bale and Crow make this western well worth watching, along with James Mangold's masterful directing. The Outlaw Josey Wales 1976. The Outlaw Josey Wales stars Clint Eastwood as the title character, a farmer who goes on a quest for revenge after the murder of his wife and son. His quest sees him becoming a feared gunslinger and an outlaw, and as he eventually seeks a new life, he must contend with bounty hunters and soldiers who seek his head. Eastwood directs himself in this western classic, and it calls to mind his work in the legendary Dollars trilogy. While Josey Wales is another deadly gunslinger, he possesses more humanity than the man with no name and allows Eastwood to find deeper meaning in his character in one of the best revisionist westerns. A Fistful of Dollars 1964. Well, all those naysayers were wrong. A Fistful of Dollars became a major hit both abroad and in America, recognized as one of the best spaghetti westerns of all time while creating the new subgenre that lives on to this day. The story is simple: a gunslinging stranger comes into town to learn there's a war brewing between the two factions in town, and Joe is just where he wants to be, right in the middle. Sergio Leone's Dollars trilogy is hands down one of the greatest trilogies ever, and it all began with a small spaghetti western known as A Fistful of Dollars. With a low budget, non-English speaking actors, and at the time relatively unknown American actor Clint Eastwood as the lead, the film seemed doomed to fail. A western made in Italy. What's the point? The Searchers 1956. One of John Wayne's best movies, The Searchers sees Wayne playing Ethan Edwards, a Civil War veteran who returns home to find his family murdered and his niece abducted by a Comanche tribe. Refusing to give up on saving the young girl, he spends years traveling the western plains with his nephew in search of her. While Wayne is best known for playing heroic cowboys who regularly save the day, The Searchers sees the legendary actor playing a difficult character. Edwards is an openly racist and violent protagonist, but it allows Wayne to show his range as an actor while creating one of the best main characters in the western genre. High Noon 1952. Gary Cooper's High Noon has received both massive praise and criticism over the years. The film follows Marshall Will Kane as he races against the clock to protect his town from a group of deadly outlaws heading his way. A politically charged film at the time, High Noon is considered one of the first revisionist westerns that took the western tropes of the past and flipped them on their head. Western usually follows a strong male leading the civilized against the uncivilized, but High Noon sees the townspeople turn their backs on their sheriff, leaving him alone to face this impending threat. The Wild Bunch 1969. Sam Peckinpah's western epic sees a group of aging outlaws looking to make one last big score before they retire as the world around them changes. The Wild West they once knew is now being modernized with railroads and more lawmen, leaving these gunmen on the run. The Wild Bunch boasts a wide cast of characters ranging from twisted villains to remorseful killers, making for a more mature and nuanced western than those before it. The story itself is a constant journey as the outlaws move from one job to the next, keeping an exciting fast pace throughout. Rio Bravo 1959. Another John Wayne classic, Rio Bravo follows Wayne as John T. Chance, a small-town sheriff. After arresting a local cattle baron for murder, Chance must enlist the aid of a drunk, a kid, and an old man as the baron's ruthless gang rides into town to break him out of prison. Many westerns see a group of cowboys making a stand against approaching invaders, and Rio Bravo is one of the best. Beyond just the western genre, Rio Bravo helped to popularize the Siege movie, with John Carpenter claiming Rio Bravo inspired his classic assault on Precinct 13. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid 1969. One of the best aspects of the western genre is the interesting characters it creates, whether they are completely fictional or, in the case of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, mythicized versions of actual people. Butch and Sundance are one of the most iconic on-screen duos in cinema history. After a train robbery goes bad, Butch and Sundance find themselves on the run from the law and must escape America if they ever plan on growing old. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is full of exciting action sequences, such as the iconic ending, but it's the calmer moments in between that make this such a great movie, showing who Butch and Sundance really are and how their friendship has kept them alive all these years. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance 1962. U.S. Senator Ransom Stoddard and his family arrive at a frontier town to pay their respects to the late rancher Tom Donovan. Confused why a senator would attend the funeral of a poor farmer, Stoddard tells the gathered media of his cherished history with his old friend. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance is more thoughtful than your average Western, interested in exploring its characters and the myth of the cowboy rather than showcasing frequent gunfights. Westerns often glorify cowboys, with Liberty Valance contemplating whether these legendary heroes were more myth than man. For a Few Dollars More, 1965, the middle entry in the Dollars trilogy, For a Few Dollars More sees Clint Eastwood reprising his role as the man with no name. As the deadly bounty hunter tracks a dangerous criminal throughout the West, he discovers a colonel is also chasing the man, and the pair decide to join forces. Be far removed from the anti-westerns that contemplate the nature of violence, For a Few Dollars More is more concerned with dangerous cowboys gunning down anyone who looks at them the wrong way. Nobody does grizzled cowboys better than Eastwood, and For a Few Dollars More is another great showcase of his abilities. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre, 1948, when three gold miners discover a fortune's worth of the valuable mineral, they decide to split the share equally. Greed is dangerous, however, and soon enough the men begin to question each other's intentions, leading to a deadly spiral that may cost them their lives. More than just one of the greatest ever westerns, The Treasure of the Sierra Madre is regarded as one of the best movies of all time. Influential on the genre, the movie's impact can also be felt in the realm of television, video games, and even music. Established many of the tropes that modern movies in the genre still use today, and has held up surprisingly well. Django Unchained, 2012. Quentin Tarantino's over-the-top spaghetti western Django Unchained follows a recently freed slave, Django, who is recruited by the charming German bounty hunter, Dr. King Schultz, to hunt down bounties with him. Over their journey, Django learns how to wield a gun and how to protect himself, turning him into a deadly killer. When Django and Schultz learn of Django's lost wife's whereabouts, the two head out to rescue her from the dreaded Calvin Candy. Loud, bloody, bombastic, and extremely entertaining, Django Unchained is one of Tarantino's best films ever and one of the greatest westerns of all time. Unforgiven, 1992. Clint Eastwood became a staple in the western genre after the acclaimed Dollars trilogy and went off to make countless more western hits and even direct some as well. After playing a cowboy for the past 30 years, Clint was finally ready to hang up his 10-gallon hat and leave his spurs behind, but not before doing one last goodbye to the genre that made his career. Thus comes Unforgiven. Unforgiven strips away the myth of the westerns and instead shows the harsh realities of living during that time. The gunfighters are no longer stoic killers but instead hold remorse for their past sins and seek redemption in a land of blood and misery. Once Upon a Time in the West, 1969. If there's one thing to be said about the masterful director Sergio Leone, it's that he knows how to make a great western. After the success of his spaghetti western Dollars trilogy, Leone sought to make another western classic, Once Upon a Time in the West. The film follows a mysterious stranger who plays the harmonica as he protects a beautiful widow from a ruthless assassin sent from the railroad. Pitting the rough and tough Charles Bronson and the handsome blue-eyed Henry Fonda against one another, Once Upon a Time keeps you on the edge of your seat from beginning to end. The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, 1966. Truly the most iconic western of all time and one of the greatest pieces of cinema. The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is the quintessential western. It has gunfights, evil outlaws, gun-toting bounty hunters, a Civil War battle scene, and most important of all, a mesmerizing soundtrack that throws you right into this dreary world of outlaws. V. Blondie forms an uneasy alliance with the slippery Tuco as they race against time and the killer Angel Eyes to find a legendary treasure buried in an old cemetery. The only justifiable word to describe this film would be epic. From its music to its scenery and characters and to its iconic ending, The Good, the Bad and the Ugly is without a doubt the greatest western of